Hi, let's learn how to make chicken stew, which is good for rotis. So this is a South Indian style, what is called kulambu in South India or Tamil. So we're just going to start first in a pressure cooker with a quarter cup of oil. There's no skimping on oil here because it just doesn't taste good without adequate amount of oil. And I'm going to use some whole spices first. I've got here a star anise and a teaspoon of fennel, so that gives it a good mild flavor. And over that I'm going to be adding I'm using spring onions. Ideal for these are shallots, but this gives an interesting flavor to that as well. So I'm going to get this over the layer of oil so it has a more roasted effect. And after having the onion and garlic layer, so I have used a fair amount of garlic here. So I've got about 12 to 15 garlic pieces which have been coarsely mashed. So I'm just going to mix this in the oil so as it's cooking. And I haven't pre-roasted the onions. Generally we would, but when you are using spring onions, there's a little bit of leeway because it's more a salady consistency, and you can get away with just the mild roasting that you get with the combined cooking. And over this I'm going to be adding some tomatoes and one slit green chili into small pieces, and I've just added 10 mint leaves. It just gives it a mild flavor while it's cooking. And over that we're going to be adding the chicken, and as usual to alter the consistency I've got 4 baby potatoes which have been chopped into small pieces. So I've got about 750 grams of chicken that I have cut into uniform strips. These are all chicken thigh pieces. So I'm getting the slightly thicker bony pieces at the bottom and the strips over it which are slightly smaller and will cook a little bit easier. So it may be packed right up to the top, but it will condense down as it's cooking. And will reduce in the amount. So again, a word of caution about handling raw poultry. That's one of the commonest reasons for having any stomach upset. So make sure that you wash your hands and handle the poultry with care, like chicken. So we're going to have a few spice powders over this. So I've got here some kasuri methi. So this is dried leaves of the methi seeds, which gives it a mild taste of the seeds. So and I've got here a spoon of coriander powder which thickens it to a certain extent, some jeera powder for mild flavor, and I've got a teaspoon of chili powder which has been ground with the coriander powder. And to thicken the whole thing, after opening I'm going to be adding some roasted almond powder. So at the moment I'm just leaving it out because it's already been through the cooking process. And to this we're going to be adding a teaspoon and 2 teaspoons of salt. So we'll let this cook for 10 minutes. The oil and the tomato should be enough to get the whole chicken cooking. So we'll cook it for 10 minutes and see how it is. So this has had about 15 minutes of cooking for 6 whistles, and the pressure settled down. So you can see that the chicken is cooked well and is coming away quite nicely. We will transfer it into a bowl in a minute, and we're going to add the almond powder just to thicken it as well. I've just transferred this to a bowl and I'm adding 3 tablespoons of the almond powder. You can add any nut powder, cashew nut powder, or you can add a mixture of coconut along with any other roasted dal. So anything which will give it a little bit of a thicker consistency. And the few potatoes that I added, you can coarsely mash them. So you just leave it to rest, and so it will still be in a more gravy like consistency, so which will be very good if you have it with South Indian dishes, particularly rice, plain rice, or a plain biryani, or even dosa or idli. So this is a simple chicken kulambu. So I hope you enjoy this stew. Thank you.